exactly that you can put here ref and then reference any library you created. So this queue will run that library instead of whatever you do below. The version is good if you have made an update to the code. You can put here whatever numbers. It will choose the higher one. So if you have a queue done and you are playing the mission and then you make a change to it to this queue and you start the game and load your save to make sure this queue will be used, the new one, and not the old one you add version and then a higher number than the one you had before. So it will override the existing one. Otherwise, it will use the already loaded queue version and still be buggy or whatever it was. So this part below is I have no idea what the hell it does, so I'll just skip that. So name we had. So to name queues have to be named um, uniquely. This is really important. If you don't have unique names, queues get overridden if they have the same name, obviously. So if I go and say Q1 and everybody else has Q1 as well, even if it's in a different file, whatever queue is below the last named 1 will override everyone's queue. So queue names really need to be unique throughout all files. So this is, I can't stress this enough. So I usually use this convention that I name the queues related to whatever I'm doing. So given this is a MD tutorial, I call it MDT or MD if you want tutorial. I really don't like typing much. So, and because this is the first queue, because I will name all the queues MD tutorial whatever, I'll add an underscore because I hate spaces and call it top level. Top level. I use underscore just because it's much easier to double click and select the whole thing. If you have a space, it's crazy annoying to see you only select that portion or this portion, and I really hate that. So I make an underscore so I can put the spaces, the words apart, but still be selectable with a double click. So this is the first queue we have. So let's close that. By closing this, you can see this is the tags. The closing tag is added automatically. So I press enter for a new line, and after queue, usually you get conditions. So press this thingy, or whatever it's called, and then you get a set of actions, set of options you can have within queue. So within queue you can have action, condition, queue, whatever. But the first thing you always have to realize is you need conditions. So conditions are important because it will say when this queue will trigger and stuff will happen. If you don't do conditions, it will go immediately. So once the 2 seconds delay are over, it bang and it will do whatever you put in the actions. So the first one should have conditions. So we put here conditions, press enter, and within conditions you get all sorts of conditions you can use. So this is like a huge amount. Obviously the type of conditions to choose from is really dependent on what you want. So what you have to make sure the conditions can be met related to whatever you are coding. So, but for the first one, because this is the really first queue, we just will use very easy condition, and in our case even a one that you have to type in manually. So I also usually put check all in, meaning it will use more than one condition to check. Even if I only use one condition, this is so because it's just so much easier to add another conditions later on. And if you don't, you have to go back, delete stuff, create check all, and then put the conditions within check all. So I do check all like 99% of the times. And then even if I just have one condition, and then if I need to add a new, an additional one later on, it just be there, just adding so much simpler. But it really is not needed to. So if you only have one condition, check all is not really needed. So I use check all. So and now I want to check to make sure the player name is set to. So I start typing. As you see, as you start typing, the options will show up. So I will put here check value. So check value is a very generic type of check. It will check any type of value I want. In this case, I wanted to check the player name. So the check value is, I wanted to check value, and instead of putting a name, so I would have to create a value, you can use one of those preset values. We move here to the director HTML file, and you can see there are all sorts of player variables already set up for us to use. So I wanted to check the player's name, so name of the player. So you can just copy that, move to thingy, place, and so check value player name, and it will need to be exact, and I'll just put in here tutorial. So this means that this queue will only trigger once the player in-game goes to his player name and changes his name to tutorial. Mind the spelling, because it will need to be exact like that. So if I put here a capital T in the game, it needs to be a capital T as well, otherwise it won't trigger. Okay, so we have that. So once we have that, we move up here. Conditions are done. We set here, and after conditions, press the arrow thingy, and after conditions, you can see only these choices after conditions. So actions is what we want, because now it's time to stuff to happen. We could use timing as well, meaning, say you want a small delay within when the player changed his name, but you don't want something to happen immediately. So you can use a timing. We can do that. So and this time we'll add, like 2 seconds. Again, 2s for seconds. You could use 2h for hours, but that would be boring. So we just use 2 seconds. Now we put the action node in, and in action there is all sorts of things you want to do. So if you want to do one thing only, you can do whatever you want here and choose from these options, and it will do. But if you want multiple things to happen, you will have to choose a do all. Do all can have multiple actions and multiple do alls as well, and multiple whatever. So like in conditions, the first thing I add after actions is a do all, even if it's just for one thing. It just means if I need to add an additional action later on, I don't have to go in, because I can still have all the same options I had before, and unlike before, I can add now more than one. So this what we want to do. We just choose a simple thing. We're going to put an incoming message. So this is what we're going to do. So here, incoming message, and the author, not mandatory, but it's good. That will be me. And the text. And now here within the text you can type your stuff like hello, welcome to MDTutorial. Or you can add text entries like say page 1 ID 245. This is no, it doesn't mean anything. I just choose a number and it will read that from the text file, page 1 entry 245, and that will be within the message. You can also use variables, say hello, and add here the player name. See, hello player name. So it will go and choose the player's name within the game and say whatever it is. Hello you, welcome to MDTutorial. Now you can choose here that this message to pop up immediately. So when it triggers, it's in the player's face. You can choose it to not give this plain incoming message, and it's just it will be there. It's like if you want just the message to be in the log and without annoying the player, it doesn't do anything. Comment is used, chance, we'll get to that later, and everything else I have no idea, or I don't use it. So this is it. This is our first queue. So save. When we go in game now, load our game, change our name to tutorial. Mind the spelling. Wait 2 seconds. A message will come and say, "Hello, welcome to MDTutorial." So that's it. We'll get to more stuff in the next video. So see you.